Ohio State's basketball team crumbled down the stretch in an 87-79 loss to Illinois.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to this bonus episode of Locked On Buckeyes, which is your daily Ohio State podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. And during this hardwood huddle, we'll discuss if the Buckeyes can march their way to the big dance, because after their 87-79 loss to Illinois, that's the first thought in my mind. Because during this game, Ohio State crumbled down the stretch. The Buckeyes had a 68-63 lead over Illinois with 8 minutes to go. And you think if you have a 5-point lead on the road, when you've been playing pretty well in this game, you're going to find a way to win. The Buckeyes crumbled. They only made 5 of their final 16 field goals. Illinois outscored Ohio State 51-37 in the second half, and the Buckeyes crumbled. Defensively, they were not doing the same things they were doing in the first half. Offensively, they couldn't hit anything. While Devin Royal had a great first half, Bruce Thornton had a little bit better second half. Those two guys down the stretch couldn't make a bucket, and Ohio State crumbled, and their 3-game losing streak was snapped, and now Ohio State is trying to figure out what happened in the second half to try to stack more wins so they can make the NCAA tournament. Because that's the ultimate goal. I know the Big Ten tournament is right around the corner, and you're going to get that before the NCAA tournament. But Jake Diebler, in his first year at Ohio State, he understands that these moments and these games, these are crucial to be able to make the big dance. And I know the bracketologists out there say Ohio State's currently a 10 seed. With the way they're playing and with the way they look in the second half, they might find themselves on the outside instead of inside if moments like this happen in other games. Now, you wouldn't expect for Devin Royal, who played phenomenal in the first half, or Bruce Thornton or Micah Parrish or some of these other guys at Ohio State that we have seen put the ball in the basket at a high rate to do what happened in the second half. You wouldn't expect that. But when it happens on the road against Illinois, and we look at Ohio State's schedule the rest of the way, we're going to dive into this later in the show. You have a home game against Maryland. You got to go on the road to Nebraska. Going to skip ahead. You got to go out to the West Coast to play UCLA, USC. Your final Big Ten game is against IU. All of those games to some people might be winnable, but Ohio State's shown a trend to where sometimes when things aren't going their way, they struggle to overcome them. It happened in this game. I mean, when I mentioned Devin Royal in the first half, he was playing big boy basketball. He was making a lot of tough shots in the first half. Devin Royal led all scorers with 19 points. But outside of that, the only other person that had double digits in point scoring was a guy in Illinois. In the second half, the Buckeyes really, really struggled. Now, John Mobley Jr. and Bruce Thornton both picked it up in the second half. Mobley Jr. had 12 points. Thornton had 13. Devin Royal also added in 10. But out of the other Buckeye players that played, only one other player scored in the second half. That was Quez Glover with only 2 points. It's not good enough. That's not a good way to try to figure things out in the Big Ten Conference when you know going on the road in the Big Ten is going to be tough. And I understand UCLA and USC are new to the Big Ten. Those are two programs in college basketball that are well-respected programs, that when you go out there, it's a tough place to play. Then you add the fact that it's a long extended road trip, the longest one of the season, and you're in a different time zone. 3 different time zones, going from the Eastern time zone to Pacific. So that's another factor when you think about Ohio State going on down the stretch of the season. What we saw this game against Illinois was Illinois is a team that is trying to play fast and has a lot of players that can take advantage of some of the things that Ohio State allows them to do. Ohio State desperately needs some other points from the guys that are the others. And Aaron Bradshaw, Micah Parrish, who Aaron Bradshaw had a great bucket, I believe, in the first few minutes of the game. We're all thinking, okay, if you try that again, or you try to get in the ball consistently, you'll be able to get some things to shake. Aaron Bradshaw was 1 for 3 in this game. Micah Parrish, 1 for 5. Quez Glover, who also fouled out, along with John Mobley Jr., who fouled out. Quez Glover was 1 for 5. Evan Mahaffey, 0 for 1. The other players for Ohio State in a hostile environment didn't step up. And that was the biggest issue in this game to me, is the other guys didn't step up outside from the hustle points and the hustle stats. Ohio State was minus 12 in the rebound battle. They were minus 8 in second chance points. They were minus 39 at bench points and points in the paint. They were minus 22. These are not the things that you think Ohio State is going to do on the road, but this is where they are. They lost the battle in the hustle stats. They didn't get much production outside of their own big three. And Ohio State has to figure out some things before playing Maryland on Thursday, playing Nebraska a week from today. It's also another road game. Ohio State is a team that the bracketologists say they're going to make the big dance. I don't know if that's going to happen because of the way that this team is trending against teams they're on the same level with, the way they play against teams that are better than them. I am not sure currently if Ohio State will make the big dance. We'll dive more into that topic next because there's a way for the Buckeyes to make the big dance in March. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Super Bowl 59 is here. One game, two teams, endless possibilities, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. Whether it's predicting the first touchdown, calling the MVP, or even betting on the coin toss, FanDuel makes it easy to get in on the action. With live betting all game long, you can adjust your bets as a game unfolds and feel the thrill from kickoff to the final whistle. The live betting feature lets you stay involved no matter what happens on the field, and the app is super easy to navigate. Plus, knowing that you can place a $5 bet and potentially win $200 in bonus bets for the Super Bowl, y'all, that's the icing on the cake. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started. Bet just $5, and if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Bet with FanDuel, official partner of Super Bowl 59. Thank y'all for tapping into this bonus episode of Locked On Buckeyes. Following Ohio State's 87-79 road loss to Illinois, this game snapped Ohio State's 3-game winning streak. And this is the game where Ohio State can build momentum. They can try to get a better seeding for the Big Ten Conference Tournament. All of that will help them make the big dance in March. And yes, I know the bracketologists say currently Ohio State is a 10 seed. I understand that. But down the stretch, Ohio State can either solidify their slot in the big dance or lose it. I think both of those things are possible. When you're playing a Maryland team that's really good, you're going on the road to Nebraska. The rest of the Big Ten schedule is home against Washington, home against the team up north, home against Northwestern, on the road at UCLA, at USC, and then you come back home about a week after that USC game to play Nebraska at home, and then the final game of the regular season is a Saturday afternoon game on CBS as well, like today's game was against IU. There are some winnable games in there, and there are some games that Ohio State can lose. And Ohio State can't split the rest of the way and say, oh, let's just say 5-5 or 4-4. We're 4-4 down the stretch. We're going to make the big dance. I think that's possible. I do think that's possible. But my gut tells me that with the things that have happened down the stretch and with the losses to Ohio State's team, I think if they had Michi Johnson, this team would be playing a whole lot better, but he's not there. Sean Stewart, I think if he were playing, I think this team would be trending in a better way. And I think a lot of us right now would feel more confident in Ohio State making the tournament down the road. But unfortunately, Michi Johnson is not back with the team. Sean Stewart didn't play. It hasn't played for a while. Buckeyes are currently 13-9. They could easily find themselves at 500 at 13-13 over the next 4 games. I don't think that's going to happen, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. Ohio State just simply has to stack wins. Win after win after win after win after win. And I'm going to take a page out of Ryan Day's playbook for the Ohio State basketball team. I know these are different circumstances for both the football and the basketball team, but however, Ryan Day said something down the stretch in the playoff that I think Jake Diebler can implement with his own basketball team down the stretch of the regular season. During the playoff, even before the game against Tennessee, Ryan Day said, leave no doubt. And I think Jake Diebler could take that same page and say, don't allow something on the court that somebody else can do to take away your own destiny. Don't allow someone else to control the outcome of a game. You take it into your own hands. Don't leave it up to a call by the referee. Don't leave it up to a play. Don't leave it up to X, Y, or Z. Don't leave it up to anything else but what you can do and take control. Now, there are going to be times that Ohio State loses games, But if they keep that same mindset and use that energy and effort that they utilized in the first half of this game, and they utilize that for 40 full minutes in the next few Ohio State games on the Big Ten slate, I think they'll make the big dance. And for Jake Diebler, first-year head coach in college basketball, you want that. You want that pat on the back, you may want to say, I know things were tough. I know things were difficult. I know we had absences. I know we had an investigation by a guy on our team. We know we had a guy that transferred back to Ohio State that unfortunately is not with the team right now, where we had to build chemistry on the fly, where if that happened in the offseason, we have weeks of practice to try to build confidence and chemistry to replace that void. But we're still not able to do that. Ohio State can make the big dance. I'm not ready to say yes. I ain't ready to say no. But these boys got to stack wins and do it quickly so they can take this thing into their own hands to make sure they make the big dance at the end of the day. I recently heard I was reminded about a new postseason tournament, and I think that's on Fox. I'm not sure what network is broadcasting it. But there's going to be a chance for Ohio State to play in the NIT, or was it the CIT, if that's still a thing, the College Basketball Invitational, or whatever that thing was called. I forget, man. Things got weird after COVID. I do know that they can do it. I'm just not sure that they will. I don't mean to be negative here on a Sunday, especially after talking about Justin Fry here on Sunday morning. I want to be positive on a Sunday afternoon, man, but this basketball team has a lot of talent. But unfortunately, sometimes they struggle to put it all together for a full 40 minutes to end games victorious. We're up out of here, y'all, on a Sunday. A double dose of Locked On Buckeyes on a Sunday. That's what we're trying to do in 2025. Give you all the Buckeye news you want, you desire, so you don't miss a thing. You can follow me on any social media platform at jstevens07. Send every email to jstevens317@gmail.com. Buckeye fans, we're up out of here on a Sunday. We'll see you tomorrow morning.